Chapter 3.1 Day 1 Sage and Scribe. I'm going to do all the numbers on one side, and student or you can participate with me to do all the number on the other side. So I'm going to do this number 1a. So for 1a I'm going to solve for x. It means we need to isolate the x term. So plus 18 on both sides. X square equals 18, and then you're going to take a square root on both sides, write plus or minus, square and square root cancel, so x equals plus or minus 3 square root 2. Remember, we are going to break the 18 into 9 times 2, and we're going to break the 9. Perfect square of 9 is 3 outside, and inside is square root 2. For number 2, you're going to isolate the square term by adding 12 on both sides. So 3x squared equals 54. And when you divide with 3 on both sides, you get x squared equals 18, which means x equals plus or minus 3 square root 2. Just remember, if this would be a 12x, then we're going to use a cross and a box method. But right now we just have a x squared term and a constant term. So x squared term and a constant. So we can solve these by isolating the x squared term and square rooting on both sides. Next is question number 3a. So you're going to add 45 on both sides. 5x squared equals 45. You're going to divide with 5 on both sides. X squared equals 9, and then you're going to take a square root on both sides. X becomes equals plus or minus 3. For number 4a, you're going to isolate this term, that is x plus 5 squared. You remove the 16 and 2. So first of all, we're going to remove 16 by adding 16 on both sides. And you're going to get 2 times x plus 5 square equals to 16. And then you're going to divide with 2 on both sides. You get x plus 5 equals x plus 5 square equals 108. Now when you're going to square root on both sides, you're going to get the square root of 108 plus or minus. From this side, the square and square root cancels, so you got x plus 5 equals plus or minus. Break the 108 into two parts, so 36 times 3. X plus 5 equals plus or minus 6 square root 3, and then you're going to subtract both sides by 5. X equals minus 5 plus or minus 6 square root 3. Remember, there are going to be always two answers, so that's why we keep on writing plus or minus. Means one answer would be negative 5 plus 6 square root 3. Other answer would be negative 5 minus 6 square root 3. So for number 5a, 4x minus 5 square equals 9. So you're going to square root on both sides. So going to square root on both sides, 4x minus 5 square equals plus or minus square root 9. And you're going to cancel the square and square root. 4x minus 5 equals plus or minus 3. Now, I already explained that there are going to be two answers. So one is 4x minus 5 equals 3, and the other one is 4x minus 5 equals negative 3. So it means that you're going to do the operations here to find the x value, and they're going to be 2x value. 4x equals 8, 4x equals 2. So one answer for x is 2, and this one would give you x equals 1 over 2. For number 6, you're going to isolate the x squared term, which is x minus 14 squared. So it means that you need to remove this 8 by using opposite operations. So you're going to negative 8 on both sides. X minus 14 squared equals 1. And then you're going to x minus 14 squared equals plus or minus square root 1. Cancel this square root with square. X minus 14 equals 1 and x minus 14 equals negative 1. When you add 14 on both sides, this one becomes x equals 15. And in this case, when you add 14 on both sides, you're going to get x equals 13. For number 8, you're going to remove the negative 2 from the front. It means that you need to divide 2 on both sides or negative 2 on both sides. X minus 7 square equals 5, and then you're going to take a square root on both sides. Square and square root cancel. X minus 7 equals square root 5. Since square root 5 do not have a perfect square, so you're going to just add 7 on both sides. So your answer is going to be x equals 7 plus or minus square root 5. Number 10, the square term is already isolated, so all we need to do is to take square root on both sides. So x plus 2 square root is equal to plus or minus square root 9. Square and square root cancel. X plus 2 equals 3 and x plus 2 equals negative 3, because plus or minus square root 9 is plus or minus 3. Now you're going to subtract 2 on both sides one by one. So you got two answers. One is x equals 1 and the other one is from here x equals negative 5.